This is the Yanks Go Yard podcast with Adam Weinrib and Thomas Carannante.
What's up, everybody, and welcome on into Thursday's episode of the Yanks Go Yard podcast. I am your host, Thomas Carannante. Adam Weinrib is still on vacation. He'll be back Monday. We're going to have, could be a sad recap, could be a thrilling recap. I don't know. Yankees have been doing great since he's gone, so I might be projecting a happy one on Monday after this Red Sox series. But today, we have a very special episode. We're going to preview this Red Sox series with some special guests from here at Fansided. We'll get into that into a minute. One, Adam's gone, so we need to change things up a bit. Two, it's a 4-game set against the Red Sox. Massive playoff implications, could literally change everything coming into September. I know we say that every week, but you're talking about division rivalry here. These teams are neck and neck in the AL wild card. Red Sox lost 7 of 10. Yankees have won 8 of 10. So now it's kind of evened up. And you got to switch things up, get some new perspectives on the podcast. And lastly, I had a bowl of chili, so you never know when you're going to need some assistance on the podcast. You simply just don't know. So thank you guys for tuning in. Once again, please head on over to yanksgoyard.com. Plenty of content over there for you guys to read that we're not talking about on the podcast. And again, like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Much appreciated. But more importantly, please welcome Fansided employees Katrina Stebbins and Katie Manganelli. They will be here with us today. We're going to do a little mediating, Red Sox versus Yanks. More often than not, you're here listening to me or Adam spew our biased viewpoints on this podcast about the Yankees. Katrina is an MLB staff writer here at Fansided. She has many a fandom, which she'll explain to you in a second. And Katie here is the editor of our Red Sox site, Bo Sox Injection. So if you're a Yankees fan who hates the Red Sox, that's totally understandable. But Bo Sox Injection has all the information you need to know about Boston, especially with this series on deck. You want to get to know about personnel. You want to know about what's going on in Red Sox land. Katie's got you covered. She's been doing great work. Katrina is all over the place, mostly writing about the Dodgers. I'm not going to talk about that. And the Tigers, which Yankees could cross paths with them at some point. So a lot of interesting things going on right now. But Katrina, please introduce yourself to the audience and explain your fandom in a way that they can understand it.
Yeah, the thing about me is that I have no loyalties really, but I would like to declare here live once and for all that I am mostly a Tigers fan. We're going to put that to bed.
Okay.
I do write about the Dodgers. I'm fond of them. I'm fond of Shohei Ohtani. I'm also kind of a Mets fan because I live in Queens. But, you know, I'm repping the Tigers here. Scooble's in the background. I'm a Tigers fan first and foremost.
Yeah. And what better person to have than somebody who likes 4 other teams mediating diehard Yankees and Red Sox fan who have no allegiance to any other team. So I think it's actually perfect. And Katie, please introduce yourself to the audience and let them know how much you hate the Yankees.
Yeah, I'm Katie. I'm the editor at BoSoxInjection.com. Thomas said it. I'm a Red Sox fan through and through, no hidden loyalties. And I was born and raised in Boston, so obviously born and raised Red Sox fan. And the hatred for the Yankees it's kind of systematic, you know? They kind of get you started in school. They tell you early, we're Sox fans here, we're not Yankee fans, and it's been that way my whole life. My family is passionate sports fans. The Red Sox have been on in the background of my entire childhood, and that continues today.
Nice. Yeah, in case you guys didn't know, Katie got homeschooled and it was all just sports. They told her that she's supposed to hate every New York team and that Patriots and Red Sox and Bruins are all that matter. So that's what we're dealing with today. So here's the deal, guys. Katrina is going to go through a list of questions, some that we know, others that we don't. And Katie and I are going to go down the list and talk about our A, allegiances, B, our takes on either of these teams in terms of what's lined up for this series and what we think is going to happen and our feelings just around the 2025 season. And we're going to see who survives. So Katrina, take it away. We have plenty on the docket here.
Yeah. Okay, right. First question. And I'm curious, there are kind of 2 parts to this, I feel like. First of all, for both of your teams, looking at, as Thomas said, the playoff implications of this series, is it the biggest series of the season? But I also want to hear what you guys think about the state of the Yankees-Red Sox rivalry. Like, I think that people have talked a lot about how it's dead. People care more about Dodgers-Padres these days. The fire is gone. So first, is it the biggest series of the season for you guys in context, and then also zoom out a little?
Katie, why don't you take that, because everybody knows already how I feel, and then I'd be happy to bounce off whatever you got.
Yeah, I can say absolutely that this is the biggest series that the Red Sox have had this season so far. And it because the Red Sox and Yankees are so close in the wild card race. We're really getting down to the wire here as September kind of closes in. And this is not the last time that these two teams will face each other this year. This is just the last 4-gamer, I think. So they're kind of knocking a lot of games out right now. There's a lot to be gained and lost by either team in the wild card at this juncture. It is particularly concerning, I feel, to myself and to Red Sox fans, because the Yanks are kind of on a tear, going off a little bit at the moment, and the Sox haven't looked so good really since the beginning of August. They've lost, I think, 8 of their last 12 games. They're on a 3-game losing streak. They've scored 3 runs in all those games. And the Yankees have looked quite fearsome against the Rays. They've scored they hit 9 homers in game 1. That is certainly concerning, especially since the Red Sox will be without their number 1 Yankee killer, Rafael Devers, which I'm sure we'll address later on. But I would say that this is absolutely the biggest series of the season, even though the Red Sox have kind of had the Yankees number so far. They swept them so they played twice. They won the series the first time, swept them the second time, in quite different ways. In the first series, they kind of got all over them with high run totals, and then in the second series, they were pretty low scorers overall. So honestly, I don't have a ton of idea what to expect here.
Yeah, I think that the rivalry hasn't been dead, but I think it's been forced down our throat in recent years. With, like last year, the last 2 years really, when the Red Sox haven't been particularly good. Even the Yankees weren't good in 2023, and they're still nationally televising all these games. Nobody really cares. I think there's been general fatigue among regular baseball fans, average viewers. And from Yankees fans' perspective, we're sick of it too, because every time there's a national televised game, you know how it ends up. In terms of renewing the rivalry or giving it some more juice, this is the series. There's no other way about it. This 1.5 games separate these teams in the wild card race. We have seen what happens when the Red Sox face the Yankees in the playoffs or in high leverage games since really 2004. It hasn't been pretty. So I think that this is probably the truest form outside of the wild card game in 2021. This is like the truest form of Yankees-Red Sox maybe being renewed in a more genuine capacity. I think, Katrina, you're right. More fans are focusing on Dodgers-Padres, among others. Cubs-Brewers is hot right now. That series is going on. I think a lot of people are more tuned into that because of how that's been revived and how the Cubs have kind of made a little bit of a comeback, and there's more novelty with the Brewers being the best team in the league. Yankees Red Sox is what it is, like 2 historic franchises, but you can't just bring that to the table. It can't just be, oh, we're Yankees, we're Red Sox, we're rivals, enjoy. There's got to be more hatred here. Jorge Posada said it at Old Timers Day. He said you can't be everybody's friend. The team needs to play with with more of a chip on their shoulder. So let's get it going this weekend. And look, like, if the Yankees lose, the Yankees lose. It is what it is. But let's get mean. I want somebody to say something and do something mean. That's all I want.
And to return to the rivalry question, if I may, as I didn't address it, first of all, someone needs to get mean to kind of spice this thing back up. But I think part of the reason why this rivalry is kind of scuffling in the eyes of baseball fans is because the Red Sox and Yankees haven't both been in the playoffs for a while. The Red Sox they've fared middling to quite well around the Yankees, against the Yankees in the regular season, but they haven't made the playoffs in 5 of the last 6 years. And this could be the chance that they have another really close race, like in 2021 when they were in danger of a 3-way tie with the Jays, which was just a really, really interesting wild card series. But if the Red Sox and Yankees make it back to the playoffs, I think that will be the spark to kind of return it to Dodgers Padres level.
So Thomas, you kind of gave a clue as to your answer to this one, but on a scale of 1 to mad, how mad are you that Aaron Boone has sort of downplayed the importance of this upcoming series? He told Talking Yanks that the Yankees treat every game the same, which is very, baseball manager-y thing to say. But is he discounting the importance of this series?
Big mad, as the kids say. I think look, you have the two diverging philosophies, in my opinion. Alex Cora is kind of just a giant asshole, and Aaron Boone is very passive. And while I think Alex Cora gets out of hand more than I would like for a rival manager, like in terms of getting me angry, I'm sure Red Sox fans kind of like it when he's fanning the flames like that. Aaron Boone is the exact opposite. There is never a point in time where you are trying to motivate the team or even motivate the fan base. Like, get the fans excited for this series. You have so many fans over the last couple weeks being frustrated with these games being flexed into Sunday Night Baseball because Yankees fans kind of already know their fate. They're sitting there staring down the barrel of another embarrassing performance. But like on Talking Yanks, Boone was asked not about like punting any game against the Rays, but he was more so directed toward, hey, are you going to set up the bullpen and maybe the lineup that could maybe help this team gain an advantage over in a 4-game set over the Red Sox, which is objectively a much more important series than a 2-game set with the Rays in the middle of the week. And he said, quote, I don't know. I would disagree with that. We haven't even played today's game yet, so I don't know what tomorrow brings. You've got to try to win games when you have the opportunity. And then John Boy responded, yes, but the games count as double. That's just the math of it. And then Boone said, okay, ideally you're always trying to reset, but it won't be at the expense of another game. Let's keep it moving. Come on. So, I get you're not going to come out and say, hey, the Rays suck. We're totally going to overlook them because they're not as good as the Red Sox, and we definitely need to win these games against the Red Sox. But, like, can we get a hint that the Yankees are excited to play the Red Sox, or that there's behind-the-scenes frustration and anger that this team has failed against them so many times, or maybe allude to the fact that you have to win it because you're 1-5 against them, and because the wild card is so tight that if there is a tiebreaker, you lose it again. And we know what happened in 2021 when they lost a tiebreaker. They had to go to Fenway instead of host the game at Yankee Stadium. So I don't like that it feels as if every time we go into these series, Alex Cora has his side way more motivated than Aaron Boone has his side.
But for Katie, the Red Sox are coming into this series with a huge disadvantage. I know the answer to this, but on a scale from 1 to mad, how mad are you that Craig Breslow traded Rafael Devers, the Yankee killer of maybe his generation?
Yeah, I'm not sure mad covers it. This trade happened a long time ago. At least it feels like a long time ago. In the grand scheme of things, it's really only been like 2 months, right? That's crazy to think about. But the past is the past. Rafi's a giant. However, it was hard to see that, the very kind of overwhelming, excited reaction from Yankee fans when the trade went through. Like, there was genuine shock that the Red Sox would kind of just give their biggest advantage against the Yankees away, because Devers is really just the Yankee killer besides David Ortiz, right? Like, they were right up there. He's hit as many homers at Yankee Stadium as Ortiz did in his career, and he still had 9 years left on his Red Sox contract. He was going to completely take that title over, and hopefully, if he were still there, would hopefully lead the Red Sox to multiple playoff victories. over the Yankees when they finally get it together and properly built around him and did everything that they needed to do. But it's over now. I'm mad about it. But the past is a past, and they need to focus on winning now to get back to the playoffs, because it has indeed been too long since these two teams have met in a game that really has some postseason implications, has some high stakes. And I know that that's what Red Sox fans want to see the most.
Do you see a clear successor in the current Red Sox picture for Rafael Devers as a Yankee killer?
Cedar Rafaela has really had some killer moments against the Yankees. That one game that I attended last season when Masataka Yoshida hit a 2-out, 2-strike home run in the last inning to take it to extras, and Cedar was the killer with his game-winning home run. But I think a lot of people are going to kind of look to Roman Anthony to do this. This is going to be Roman Anthony's first series at Yankee Stadium, and it is going to be a big test. He was raking in July. He had an amazing July. He has cooled down a little bit since then, which is just to say that he's batted like 280 in the last couple weeks or so, which is still good. I have no complaints about that. It will just be interesting to see how he takes the rivalry, if he can rise to the occasion, which he has done already multiple times. He already has his first career walk-off under his belt. It will just be really interesting to see how he kind of takes this series and reacts to a bit more of a hostile environment than he's probably used to.
We'll keep it with you. In a question that I can tell Thomas wrote, why are the Red Sox ever worried about the Yankees? Why do the Red Sox pretend like they'll ever choke against them again?
I mean, I think there's always a valid reason to be worried about the Yankees. They are perennial playoff contenders. They have one of the highest payrolls in the league. They have a perennial MVP candidate, quite possibly the best player in MLB, maybe ever, in Aaron Judge. And he's always going to be there. He's always going to be, he's so reliable in terms of hitting the home run at the right time, or just being there to help the Yankees. He drives them so much. And even when the rest of the team is struggling, he's there to carry them. And we actually saw that this year. He hit a game-tying homer off Garrett Crochet in the 9th inning, I believe, in the 8th or 9th inning, at Fenway Park this year, to take like the lamest 1-0 game to extras. And the Yankees have great pitching. They really reinforced their bullpen at the trade deadline, which the Red Sox admittedly did not do, and it's showing recently. And you kind of never know what you can get from these rivalry games. There's always some chaos mixed in here somewhere. Whether that favors the Yankees or Red Sox is, I feel, a complete toss-up. But I understand why Yankee fans feel kind of so troubled by the Red Sox in recent years, because they haven't done anything of consequence in the playoffs, or in the really even had a great record. They've been 500-ish for the past 3 years at least, and constantly losing to them, or what feels like constantly losing to them, has to be troubling. But the Yankees are scary. There's really no doubt about it.
All right, to Thomas with a question that I think will illuminate how he feels about how this series will shake out. How does it feel living your entire adult life, having to watch the Red Sox ruin the Yankees in the biggest moments on the biggest stages?
Yeah, pretty good, actually. I'm really excited about it. Chat, what do you guys think? I know you guys have opinions on this. Look, Yankees and Red Sox have only met a few times in the playoffs since 2004, but we all know what happened in 2004. It was scarring as an 8th grader. And then you fast forward 14 years later, and you have that division race down to the wire in 2018, and you were just never feeling good at any point during that playoff series once Aaron Judge busted out the boombox at Fenway Yankees fans kind of knew their fate. It felt terrible, and then what followed was a 16-1 victory. Believe it or not, these two teams are 12-12 against one another in their history in the playoffs, and most of that, all of that actually came beginning in 1999. So it's actually crazy to think about, but obviously with the expanded playoff field since the 90s, the Red Sox and Yankees never really met in the playoffs because of how you just got free pass to the CS or the World Series based on how it was previously. But yeah, I mean, my biggest issue with this is that the Yankees don't step up, and the Red Sox have the mental edge or the chip on their shoulder, and that's what the Yankees lack. I don't know if it's manager because, again, like Joe Torre managed the Yankees team that collapsed, and that was the work. And Derek Jeter was the captain of that team. I think a lot of people forget that. That was like his first or second year as captain. And then, 2018 on, the problems with the Yankees have largely stemmed from roster construction, but like Aaron Boone is near 500 or below 500 in the division. I think it's like very barely above 500. And you point to a 1-4 record against the Red Sox in the playoffs over that span, and it hurts and it sucks. So if there was a split stat for nationally televised games against the Red Sox since in the Aaron Boone era, I would guess that they have a 200 winning percentage. No exaggeration. So yeah, it's awful, and this is why this entire weekend I think is nationally, or like a national audience can watch it. Tonight's MLB Network, but it's also local channels. I think the same thing is Friday, Saturday's Fox, and Sunday's ESPN. So just finding new ways to make my life miserable.
Which isn't hard.
No, very easy.
All right, Katie. What is you already established that you find the Yankees to be a scary team. What's your one biggest fear about them this season, and what do you think that the Yankees should be fearful about when it comes to the Red Sox?
Geez. I would say at this moment today, based on the Red Sox recent losses, their pitching does scare me a little bit. Just their rotation is quite fearsome. I know Max Fried hasn't really looked like himself recently, but the Red Sox bats haven't looked like how they've looked in the past. In June and July, they've looked a little. They've done a lot more striking out. They haven't really delivered when they needed to. Again, 3 runs in their last 3 games, 3 straight losses. The Yankees are going into this thing with a lot of momentum, and the Red Sox are not offensively. So I think that is definitely troubling. And their bullpen reinforcements from the trade deadline, David Bednar, I just think that their pitching is a little bit more fearsome than it was maybe the last time we saw them. And with Luis Gil back too, a little bit of a fresher kind of arm in there in the mix. Is there any chance that we see Ryan Yarbrough this series? I know he's on a rehab assignment.
That's actually a good question. I don't think so. I think that the rehab is probably going to take him closer to September, but the Yankees surprise us all the time with random injury updates. They called up some dude from AAA who has not been good, but is just literally like last guy in the bullpen type stuff yesterday. So that was more of an indication, I think, of where they're heading this series. I think we're going to have to wait until next week to see any other like real injury reinforcements.
Yeah, I only ask because Yarbrough's another lefty in the mix. He held the Sox to 1 run in 4 2/3 last time he saw them, and they're kind of they're rolling without Rob Refsnyder right now, who is the lefty killer of all time on this team. So had to ask, but the Yankees kind of power punch is also a little bit frightening. Giancarlo Stanton and Aaron Judge are always going to be a daunting combination for any pitching staff. And Stanton's on a fearful roll right now. So always have to look out for them. The Red Sox don't really have as many power hitters in their lineup. Obviously, without Devers, he was a home run or 2 in every series guaranteed. So definitely those are the two things instead of the one that I would say that they have to watch out for. What do I think the Yankees should be fearful of when it comes to the Red Sox? Um, I think that the Red Sox are unpredictable, and I think that they're gutsy. They are they have run all over the Yankees on the base paths. It happened last season. They stole a record 9 games from them in one record 9 bases from them in one game,
Yeah, that was fun.
and that was
Really good
that
fun.
they were pretty daunted by that, obviously. But I think the Red Sox are they have some sneaky power in their lineup, but they will they take a lot of swings. They're gutsy. They'll get on you in ways that you don't really expect.
Thomas, converse question for you. What do you fear? Do you agree with Katie? Like, what do you fear most about the Red Sox? And why don't the Red Sox fear the Yankees at all?
I agree with Katie's points, but I don't think there's one thing to even pinpoint because the Red Sox, just in every scenario against the Yankees, they'll step up. They could be. That's why, like this, everyone's saying, "Oh, Yankees 8 of their last 10, Red Sox lost 7 of their last 10." Like, yeah, that's a talking point in terms of like how the wild card got flipped, but it's not a talking point in terms of, oh, the Red Sox are cold right now, so the Yankees can step up. The Red Sox could go 0-20 into a series with the Yankees and figure out a way to play to their best. And it doesn't matter what it is. It could be stealing 9 bases. It could be home run barrage off Garrett Cole. It could be playing the most amazing defense you've ever seen. It could be, dinking and dunking the Yankees to death and scoring runs, playing small ball. Like there is no shortage of nonsense that they do to beat this team, regardless of what situation they're in. So it's a mental edge. I think that it's kind of like we're going to punk these guys and they're going to take it and there's nothing they can really do about it. My saving grace here is Giancarlo Stanton. He's the only player that consistently steps up against the Red Sox. Like Katie obviously mentioned Aaron Judge, who's an MVP candidate, but Judge is not great against the Red Sox for his career. He's especially bad at Fenway. So like that to me is more of an indication of like, are you ready to deliver for your team against an opponent that has an edge or will have bragging rights over you until the next time you face them, which again holds weight. Like the more that you can carry that with you over the course of days or weeks or months, there's a lot of value in that. So it's something the Yankees don't understand, and I think that is why the Red Sox don't fear them, because the Yankees, again, Aaron Boone treating every game the same, not afraid to admit that Red Sox games matter more. There is not a single Yankees fan on this planet that thinks any Red Sox game, no matter the time of year, the place, or what the standings look like, are less important than anything else. Those are always the most important on the schedule, and I would venture to say Red Sox fans feel the same way. Because yes, there are rivalries. Like you have your division rivalries. The AL East is pretty heated, in my opinion. I think there's all these teams have a dislike for one another, but the history of Yankees-Red Sox is unlike any other in the entire league. So the fact that we would even consider that on par with a 2-game set against the below 500 Rays or a road series against the Cardinals, like, yeah, you have to win as many games as you can, but when you're talking about games literally counting as double, every win or loss here knocks the other team down by 1 and brings the other team up by 1. So I don't like how the Yankees have the philosophy is, oh yeah, we're just going to keep chugging along and we're going to figure it out, and one day at a time. And like, yeah, that should be an underlying, I think, philosophy of it. But when the time comes, like, bring some out how to get people motivated, because that doesn't make anybody excited, and then it gives the Red Sox like, oh, like not bulletin board material, because the Yankees aren't exactly calling them out, but it's like, oh, they're like, their manager doesn't have them prepared. He's making it painfully obvious, so let's walk all over them.
Speaking of managers, Katie, I feel like Aaron Boone is a league-wide meme, even to Yankees fans. Everybody knows that man is a joke.
Squidward.
Sorry, a joke, a bit of a joke. What? Tell us what you think of Aaron Boone. Do you think that Yankees fans exaggerate how incompetent he is?
I think that there is maybe a little bit of an exaggeration there, because everybody's going to be harder on their own team than they would otherwise be. I think that's just a fact. But I think I'm not super privy to a lot of the things that Boone has taken heat for historically, but I think the thing this year is that he's too soft on his players, that he doesn't hold them to account when they mess up, or a lot of those things happen behind the scenes, and people don't necessarily know the extent of the conversations that
You
go
think
down
Boone's like
in every
spanking
way.
with a yardstick behind the scenes?
Sorry?
You think Boone's like spanking them with a yardstick behind the scenes when they make a mistake? And he's sending a
If he
message.
was, would that make Yankee fans happier?
There was one
I think it
video or
would.
one audio clip of that happening. I think Yankee fans would ask for an extension.
Yeah. So, there's obviously some kind of criticism of some of his tendencies, let's just say, his perceived leniency.
Yeah.
But Boone has been the manager of the Yankees for what? This is his seventh, eighth year.
Number 8.
And they really don't have a ton to show for it.
Mhm.
The Yankees are consistently one of the highest payroll teams in the league. Again, they have a perennial MVP candidate in Judge, sometimes multiple. They had Juan Soto last year, and they, made it all the way to the World Series and lost in pretty catastrophically embarrassing and dramatic fashion. Some may think that was a fireable offense. They missed the playoffs in 2022 or 2023, I think it was. And he probably could have been fired then too, just with the scale of
Yeah.
the players that the Yankees have on their roster, and the skill that they really should have. The leash for Boone may be a bit longer than it should have been. But do I think that the Yankee fans exaggerate a little bit when they say how bad a manager he is? Yeah, but everybody's going to be more critical of their own squad, and I feel the Yankees definitely should have had a championship by now. It's been 15 years. You have only so many years of prime Aaron Judge on your team. You need to take advantage of them.
You heard it from a Red Sox fan, everybody. Not just us.
I mean, they need to, but I don't want them to.
There you go.
The Aaron Boone leash is so real because, coming from a sort of Dodgers perspective, I think that Dave Roberts and Aaron Boone do have some similarities. There was a lot of talk last year about if the Dodgers lost the World Series, would Dave Roberts get fired? And I think he probably would have. I mean, his contract was up, so they would have just let him go quietly. But if the Dodgers collapsed in the same way that the Yankees did last year, Dave Roberts, I don't think, would be the manager anymore.
He's been going ham, dude.
I know. Dave
This
Roberts
year.
has been very brave this year, and I'm proud of him. He's still clearly not in the loop about what's happening to his players' physical bodies, but he is calling them out a little more, which I do appreciate. All right, there are two very hated figures atop both of your franchises. Not talking about owners, though we could. GM wise, Craig Breslow and Brian Cashman are probably two of the most despised leaders by their respective fan bases. Thomas, if you had to have Craig Breslow or Brian Cashman as your GM, who would you pick?
Man, I would pick another team. I already live with Brian Cashman, so I think the only reason I would stay with Cashman is because I think the way that the lack of experience Craig Breslow has, he would just be following the owner's marching orders, which I think he's been doing in Boston. Do I think he's necessarily done a bad job? I don't know. I don't think there's enough runway there. I think he's done an okay job, and I think that we're still seeing a lot of Chaim Bloom's footprint on this team and the extensions that Breslow gave to players, and the few players that he signed, like Lucas Giolito, ended up turning it around so it looks a little bit better. But for the most part, that's kind of been a complicated signing and a lot of money down the drain. He's tried to revive a bunch of relievers that never really got to where they needed to be. He's experienced resurgences among players on the roster that were there before he got there that he might be indirectly taking credit for. But I think that the one thing I value with Brian Cashman is his experience. And I think that he does do his best to navigate within the constraints that Hal Steinbrenner has, because there's obviously payroll stuff that has to be considered here. But I mean, I can't watch an interview with Craig Breslow. It's disgusting. I don't like the way he looks. I don't like his teeth. I just don't like anything about it. And you try to justify the Rafael Devers trade too. Like, look, the Yankees would do the same thing. They would have no excuse for it. They would have a BS explanation as to why they did it. But Craig Breslow being like, oh, yeah, I should have maybe communicated to him in spring training that we were considering signing a third baseman, as if like that's a revelation that nobody else knew. It was that since day one, since Alex Bregman came to the Red Sox, everybody was like, did nobody tell Rafael Devers this was happening? So Craig Breslow, to me, a liar and a front for John Henry's money laundering scheme.
Yeah.
And
Katie, that segues perfectly.
Yeah.
Speaking of Rafael Devers, again, do you truly believe that the Red Sox are better off without Rafi?
I don't.
Or after the trade, considering, I don't know where Thomas went, but considering how things have sort of panned out for you guys in the standings, like Breslow said that he thought that the Red Sox would win more games without Rafi, and you're winning some games. So how are you feeling?
Yeah. Do I think that the Red Sox are better than they would be if they had Rafael Devers in the team? No.
Yeah.
I don't. He was and still would be their, probably single greatest power bat on this year's roster. The home run leader in the Red Sox right now is Wilyer Abreu, who actually just went on the injured list, if I'm correct. So a little bit of their home run power is going to be lost in this upcoming series. But Devers was having the best offensive season of his career when they traded him. He was taking more walks than he's ever taken. He was striking out less than he's ever struck out. And he was just, after that obviously horrific slump in the beginning of the season. Can you even call it a slump anyway. When he got off to a really bad start this season, people had a lot of feelings about him. But he turned it around tremendously. So, obviously that hasn't continued with the San Francisco Giants, but his life was uprooted by this move. He's been in the Red Sox organization since he was like a teenager. So obviously things are going to change in how you approach baseball when you have to move across the country, meet new teammates, take up a new position, which he has been fine at, he would have been fine at first base with the Red Sox, but the way that they communicated with him was so, let's not even say communicated. Let's say the way that they didn't communicate with them was inexcusable and ridiculous.
What do you think's harder, making new friends or changing positions?
Geez. I think making new friends is harder.
I would agree.
Well, you know what? Maybe not for Rafi. He so curious, right? Every year, before kind of this season and the relationship between he and the Red Sox degraded, he was always the smiley guy. He was the guy who just like showed up and was laughing and was doing his job. And so maybe it's pretty easy for Rafi Devers to make friends. He was never an excellent defender in the first place. So maybe the position
the Yankees was for him. Everyone forgets that.
Yeah.
Plays I've never seen made before, Rafael Devers would make.
He, I don't think that the Red Sox are better than they would be with Rafi on the team, because a lot of other things have changed since then.
Why are they better is my question.
They are better because Brian Bayo and Lucas Giolito have stepped up to be clear number 2s and 3s in the rotation. Okay. They have looked really, really great in most of their recent starts. They've had a slip up or two in the past couple of weeks, but they've had sub 2 ERAs for in June and July. So they've looked really great. Roman Anthony's promotion has been nothing but a spark plug, really. They should have called Anthony up they should have called Anthony up when everybody was calling for it way earlier in the season, because he's been electric. He is a rookie with on base upwards of 400. He's gutsy. He has kind of taken Rafi's place in that way of getting on base at this kind of really consistent level, which is nice. But if we had both of them, that would, I think, really be something. They could be a deadly combination, and with Alex Bregman in the mix too. That would be a deadly top
for you
three.
guys right now. Is it Yoshida?
Sorry?
Is Yoshida DHing for you guys?
Most of the time, yeah.
And he's been bad.
He's
been rough. He's been rough.
He's been better in August. He has absolutely trended up in August than he from when he started, because he was on the injured list for the entire first half, plus. So he's trending up now. He's a known slow starter, so he's finding his way, getting his footing. But the way that Rafi was going when he was with the Red Sox, when he was walking at the highest clip he's ever taken, it was a huge boost to the offense. And if the top three were Anthony, Devers, Bregman, I don't think the Red Sox would lose. I just don't.
Ever again?
Oh. Okay, so we established some potential Yankee killer successors to Devers' crown. Thomas, which one of them are you most worried about in this series?
Oh, my answer is ridiculous here. It's Trevor Story. Why? Because Trevor Story sucked since day one until he faced the Yankees in June. And then what has Trevor Story done since getting on a hot streak against the Yankees in June? He's been, I think, one of the best all-around shortstops in the league. That series was obviously every hit in that first one mattered because they were so close. And if memory serves me right, hang on, I'm pulling up the splits because now I need to see this. In April, he hit 260 with a 704 OPS, so that's fine, but nothing special. In May, he kind of fell off a cliff. He was batting 158 with a 432 OPS, and I remember Katie saying he needed to be DFA'd. And then conveniently in June, 286, 827. Conveniently in July, 293, 870. And now in August, 313, 833. So, I mean, this is an all-star shortstop who is maybe the most tenured veteran leader on this team, which is crazy.
He's paid like it.
Yeah, I mean, he plays like it too. So I think he's kind of he has nothing. He's someone, in my opinion, who has nothing to lose. He already bottomed out in this organization. The fans hated him. The fans blamed Time Bloom for wasting all this money. The fans were yelling at John Henry for picking the wrong shortstop during that free agency cycle. Yankees fans were laughing because it was a way for them to cope because they decided to pass on all those shortstops and anoint Anthony Volpe the shortstop. And then they were at least able to laugh because Trevor Story was so bad and he was taking up a huge chunk of the payroll. Now he's been reinvigorated. I think that he is someone who, look, you watch Trevor Story for the years in Colorado, like he was a gamer. He stepped up when that team needed him to. And they weren't great. They were always good, but they weren't great. And he separated himself from the pack. And he's in a position right now to kind of do it again. And from June on, the way he was able to rebound and turn himself into not only a serviceable player, but now an integral player. Like, I feel like he's the guy who's just going to be looking to get those big hits against the Yankees. And it's going to make me hate myself.
Another easy accomplishment.
Easy.
All right. So for both of you, kind of to close out, but I have a fun question right at the end.
Okay.
I want to riff, but, Katie, which Red Sox player is most likely to choke this series and who's most likely to step up? And Thomas, conversely, for the Yankees.
This is a particularly interesting question for the Red Sox because we've already established that they're kind of anybody can do anything in these like series against the Yankees. They really step up their game to kind of meet them where they are recently. But to kind of go off history this year, the Yankees got to crochet pretty good in their first series at Yankee Stadium. They got to them for 5 runs on 6 hits in 6 innings. And I remember that being pretty shocking because Walker Buehler fared pretty similarly. Obviously, he got
And the
roughed
Yankees
up a
lost
bit
that
more.
game, right?
The Yankees lost the crochet game, yes.
Yeah. Yep.
But they won the Buehler game. But
Mhm.
they got to crochet a little bit last time, which, believe me, no one wants to see. Crochet has been one of the best pitchers in MLB this year, period. Absolute Cy Young frontrunner behind Katrina's own favorite, Tarek Skubal. But and he had a rough outing on semi recently against the Astros. They got to him for 5 runs in 4 innings, and that's one of his roughest performances of the year. He bounced back from that after, but given history, I might have to go Crochet for that one. And then who's most likely to step up?
The other 25 players.
Yeah, anybody else.
Okay.
I feel like Story is a really great choice because Story has had a really great August, and he has been kind of on a roll since, as Thomas said, that last Yankee series. But Roman Anthony, I would love to see Roman Anthony dunk on the Yankees this series. I don't remember which team he was playing. I think it was spring breakout or it was some game while he was in the minors this year, but a bunch of fans started chanting overrated at him and he homered. And Roman Anthony lives to kind of meet the moment, and I think that he could help, that he kind of takes the Yankee killer crown that was left by Rafi and kind of puts it on for himself. That would be the kind of icing on the cake of the Yankees series of this year after a series win and a sweep. And to go into the playoffs with Roman Anthony riding a high like that would be pretty epic in his rookie season when there are 8 years of a contract coming.
Yeah,
8 years of Yankee matchups down the pipe.
That'd be a feel-good story for everybody, wouldn't it?
I think so.
We have Red Sox news. They called up the password. Can you believe that?
Did they just now?
Yeah. 20 minutes
they
ago.
Sure did. I think that means
Wow.
Williers on the IL.
Yeah, they think they might want to give Willier some rest. So there you go. They promote was he hot in the minor leagues?
Yes, his promotion to AAA has been insane. And they actually, I doubt he will play there because the Red Sox just signed Nathaniel Lowe, but he started taking some reps at first base and had some pretty nice picks in his first couple games there. So that's nice, promising. Let's see. The password is batting .303, 367 on base, 931 OPS since his promotion to AAA 66 games ago.
Wow.
He's hit 17 homers, his 56 RBI.
How do you say
he has like Rafael Devers power. He is kind
Perfect.
of, and he's a skilled defender too. He's an all-around really talented player, and I think that he is a really good choice to take Willier's place on the roster at this moment. I don't know if we'll see him during this series.
We
just
will.
because
It's a new guy to kick our ass. Why wouldn't we see him? You think they'd call him up to not play him for 4 games?
I don't know if they'll not play him for 4 games, but I don't know if he'll be a starter because the story of the year is how many outfielders the Red Sox have. So I don't know. Maybe he'll slot in as a pinch hitter or something like that, later in the game. But I would be curious to see how he fares. His first game in the major leagues being a Red Sox Yankees rivalry situation. The password looks like he has no trouble.
Yeah.
Coming in clutch.
I'm now most scared of this guy, so it's no longer Trevor Story.
Oh, great. Now he has to start.
Man, in terms of Yankees chokers, I was going to say Carlos Rodon, but I've been harsh on him lately, and he's actually been better than what we've got. And he's actually been pretty good against the Red Sox since he's become a Yankee, or at least over the last couple years. 2023, I kind of write off because that was just a disaster year for everybody. He stepped up in Fenway before. I don't remember if he start against you guys earlier in this year. Yeah, he lost one of those. He lost 2 games against you guys, so maybe he will choke. He lost the 11-7 Sunday Night Baseball game, but was that his fault? Yes, he threw that meatball to Carlos Narvaez in the 6th inning when the Yankees were leading. And then I mixed my series up. The second series, every hit mattered. The first series, the Red Sox scored like 30 runs. But in the second series, Rodon lost the opener, and I think he gave up all 4 runs in his start. Or he gave up 3 runs in 5 innings, and the Yankees offense didn't help him out at all. So I don't know. Now I'm thinking that could be the pick, but I'm also very pessimistic of Aaron Judge when it comes to the Red Sox. The performance just isn't there when you need it. There's a lot of striking out in big moments. There's a lot of very quick at bats. I feel like Alex Cora scouts the Yankees perfectly and knows how to attack Judge and does it with, almost effortlessly and puts him in a bad position. So I'll go with Judge, and most likely to step up. I would probably have to go with Ben Rice. You guys remember Ben Rice? He hit the 3 homers against the Red Sox last year. Ben Rice is on a tear right now. And it's forced Aaron Boone to finally make a decision. He's had to boot Austin Wells from, I wouldn't say this, they're more so just platooning at catcher. Austin Wells isn't getting like the full starting reps. Rice and him are splitting, and then Rice is giving Goldschmidt off days at first base. But Rice is swinging a hot bat right now. And he's someone who grew up in Massachusetts and hated the Red Sox, which is awesome.
It's troublesome.
One of the few things that we can – and look, Cody Bellinger, childhood Yankees fan too, so let's have these guys step up and make a little bit of a difference.
Well, we'll see. It'll be a fun weekend. So my last improvised question for both of you. We all know who Cutter is King is, and we know who Cole is King is. They're the two of the biggest trolls on Twitter. If you had to hand a meme, like, that's a good one, dude, you got us, to Cutter is King, Thomas, or to Cole is King, Katie, what meme would it be?
Katie, do you follow Cole is King that often?
I don't follow either of them.
Oh.
Dang. I feel like I know Thomas's.
But
I know what my Cutter is King is one of my least favorite people on planet Earth. In like history too, like you could go back to like, the 1500s when there were like crusades and stuff. Cutter is King is definitely higher than any of the people who committed war crimes. But that Anthony Volpe, Charlie Brown thing, it wasn't his, but he found it off TikTok from somebody. It's the funniest thing I've ever seen. It was one of the characters like whining about how they're so bad at playing sports, and then it was a rap montage of the Charlie Brown theme song with Anthony Volpe making 45 errors in a span of 30 seconds. So
I think that you should retweet it, Thomas, so that everyone knows where to find that.
That would poison my account. I would never, my algorithm would change forever, and I would never be able to get it back.
Katie, is there like any anti-Red Sox meme off the top of your head? Doesn't have to be Cole is King.
Anti-Red Sox memes. I'm pretty firmly embedded into Red Sox Twitter. I don't, not too many Yankee fans come across my feed. The most anti-Red Sox content that I see, recently it's been a lot of their like relaying signs stuff. Like I've heard them called like the Astros Junior, which
Oh
is
yeah,
pretty funny.
it's funny.
Especially because of who Alex Cora is. Um, the Alex Cora hate and the Red Sox are cheaters debate kind of never, it never gets old. Um, and that's what I see the most. But to give Cutter is king his due credit for the occasionally hilarious post. Did y'all see when the Vegas sphere turned into a baseball?
I saw
I
this
think he
one.
tweeted Anthony Volpe would still strike out if this was coming towards him, and you can't lie that is hilarious.
Yeah, my buddy sent me the rap one, and he goes, "This is totally at your expense, but this beat goes hard." And I was like, "Thanks, dude."
And it does.
It goes really hard.
It does go hard. Well, is that all it for our Inquisition?
That's everything. You both did a great job.
Oh, thank you. Thank you guys for coming on. Viewers, listeners, I hope you guys enjoyed that. A little bit of a different episode. We haven't had guests in quite a while. There's been a lot going on. We're sure to have Katie and Katrina back on at some point. We will have guests down the road, especially as we get closer to the postseason. And, down the stretch, there's going to be a lot going on. Different matchups are going to hold different weight. And we might have other personalities on here to discuss upcoming series or playoff implications or whatever it is. But thank you guys for tuning in and listening. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Head on over to yanksgoyard.com. You can find me at Tommy's_takes. We are at the official Yanks Go Yard social media account at Yanks Go Yard FS. Katie and Katrina, any last words for the people?
I would just say you can find me at BotoxInjection.com. It's a Botox joke, just in case anyone's curious. I was at first, but you can find me there. You can read much more of how I felt about the Rafael Devers trade than what I shared here. Just know that none of it's good. And just thank you for having me.
Of course.
If you hate both the Yankees and Red Sox, I'm over at Dodgers Way, hating on them regularly. Also at Motor City Bengals sometimes, less so than Dodgers, but we at Dodgers Way love to make fun of the Yankees. So if you hate the Yankees, if you're a Red Sox fan, you'll probably like my content more.
Come on down, folks. We got content for everybody. Once again, thank you guys. Appreciate everybody tuning in, and we will see you on Monday on the other side of whatever this is going to be. Adam will be back. We'll talk to you soon. Have a good weekend, everybody.